feet at the same time.
Ah, and what about your hands? Just show me the different points of your hands. I mean...
Well, I put it on here.
Oh, great. Terrific.
So this is for your head. This is for tension. This is when you have a cold, you massage these two fingers.
These two fingers.
And when you're very nervous, you massage this one.
That's mine.
And this one, when you have an earache or a headache.
The little pinky.
And over here, this is for your heart.
So you massage that part of your hand, and you will be, in effect, massaging that part of your body. Terrific. All right, fine. Shall I lay down?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay. Ah, this is the life. Love this part of the show. You're going to cover me up. You're going to cover me up, and Aida Gray's wearing a black veil. I feel like I'm dying here. I feel like I'm dead.
Well, you will feel wonderful after we get through with you. This will relax you, and people generally go to sleep when we do this.
A lot of men doing this?
I would say 40% of our clients are men, and we have a special place. I know a lot of men feel shy coming into our salon, so we have the Beverly Wilshire Barbershop. We have equipped that.
In the Beverly Wilshire Hotel?
In the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, with private rooms and all. Where you
so
can
they sneak down there, huh, and get it done without anyone knowing?
That's right.
All right, fine. Now, how are you going to do my hands when they're under...
I'm going to...
Let one out, huh? Okay.
Take one hand out.
Oh, God.
Now...
Mitzi, not so tight, please! Gotta watch these people.
Well, she has to press on the acupuncture meridian.
What does that mean? You're making that up, aren't you, Aida?
No, I'm not.
Acupuncture meridian.
That's right. Acupuncture meridian. It's called acupressure or shiatsu. And she has to press at certain points. Now, and she presses right in the joint where the nerves endings are. Mitzi, what are you doing now? What is that for? Are you doing his stomach now? He's got jitters in the stomach.
Yeah.
Mitzi, show everybody. Let's put a camera on the feet, and you can show them how the feet will correspond to the rest of the body.
I'll tell you, why don't we start with the other foot first?
Okay.
This one over here. That's a prettier foot.
Yes.
My feet are great, aren't they, Mitzi?
And if he has a headache, where are you going to press it?
This is the stomach.
This is his stomach right there.
That's the stomach.
And if you have indigestion and you have overeaten, lay your head down. And if you have overeaten or overindulged in liquor or you have any kind of a discomfort, if you massage that part, it releases it.
Good.
Now, the pressure must be tight to penetrate. This is why they put the needles in, and they also jiggle it when they do the acupuncture, which does relieve any type of pain.
But these are the pressure points that they would put the needles in.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, what bothers you now?
Mitzi's bothering me.
She's making you feel
No,
good.
actually, she is not pressing. Now she's beginning to exert some pressure, and now I'm feeling it, yeah.
Yes,
So now, if I feel that pressure, Aida, what does that mean?
That's a direct route to what's bothering you. If, let us say you have a stomach ache, and that will relieve your stomach ache. You have a headache, that will relieve your headache. You have an earache, that will relieve your earache.
Right. What happens if you have a Nora Hayden ache? You got nothing for that.
Then what she transfers energy to you. You see, this is how you can transfer energy. When you finish it, you just relax and don't think of anything.
And meanwhile, Bridget is giving me what kind of a facial massage?
What are you doing now? You're still working on
Seaweed
your
facial?
Seaweed,
Yeah, Bridget's giving you a seaweed facial with aloe vera extracts, and with minerals.
And what's so good about seaweed?
See, life began in the ocean. And the ocean has a lot of medication, and we are beginning to realize, as a matter of fact, medicine is getting an awful lot of medications right out of the sea.
And seaweed's filled with that?
Yes. It contains all the vitamins and all the minerals that necessary to recondition your skin.
This is very nice.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to hurt you a little bit, too. Now, while we generally do a foot massage when we do a facial, in order to relax you, and when you are relaxed, you get much more benefit out of the facial, because you'll find that blood rushes through your skin and helps to build new cells.
Actually,
blood releases oxygen and all the nutrients to your skin, and also to build new cells for your skin.
it is relaxing, and I am feeling a little sleepy now. Just in case I doze off, Aida, finish the show, will you?
Yes, we'll do magic with you. We'll just lift you right off the couch by air.
Mitzi, tell me the truth. You've never seen a pair of feet like that before, have you? The one thing that I have that's gorgeous, Aida, are my feet.
Look at the beautiful arch it has. Magnificent.
Magnificent arch.
Now just relax your relax.
Go ahead, Aida, do it again. Go ahead, have a thrill. That's it, baby. Nothing stupid.
Relax your foot. You're not relaxed. Come on, let go. Let go.
Okay.
Let go.
All right.
Now you're relaxed. Beautiful arch.
What an arch.
Yeah. But I'm going to transfer a little energy to you.
Okay.
Too. Now you just relax. Takes a minute or two. What Bridget is doing now, she's applying the seaweed facial on top of the aloe facial.
And that's going to harden, isn't it?
And that's going to harden, and it'll come off all in one mask.
Uh-huh.
And we'll show you, comes off very easily.
All right.
It generally takes an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
You know, there is a new approach to cosmetics today, and that's a natural, holistic approach, which means that we use everything that's in your own natural body to recondition your skin. As a matter of fact, we have one here, an eye oil which is made out of fruit. We have this Dermabien, which is, by the way, sold in France. It's the only, France and we in America are the only ones that have it. It contains collagen, elastin, which gives you elasticity, and hyaluronic acid, which lubricates these joints.
Wow.
And if you have any keratosis on the skin, it's natural. It's what's in your own skin, what's in your own body.
You know, we just had a skin doctor on, and we talked about keratosis of the skin.
Well,
and
this controls it.
Oh, good.
Well, my husband had terrible keratosis.
Is that right? Okay, now my face is hardening. We're about out of time here. Mitzi, you've just got a few more seconds left with my feet, so enjoy it. Aida is working on my hands. And
let's go
face
to
is getting
Mitzi
very
now.
hard.
Mitzi, what are you doing now?
Next area.
Face is getting very hard.
Yes, I know.
Next spot.
The neck? This is the neck, so you must relax your neck.
I'm relaxing my neck. Why is my face getting so hard?
Hot.
Hard.
And hot.
And hot.
Yes, both. That's the minerals in the masks.
Oh.
Which heat it, and the mask itself is supposed
All
to
right.
harden.
Now, where is that mask?
Too hard.
The mask is coming on?
Right here would be the finished product if it would stay
Put it
on
on my
the
face. Let me see
proper
what it feels
amount.
like. So you rip that off, and the first 4 layers of skin come off with it.
You'd be amazed. All the cellular debris comes off with it.
Oh, I gotta tell you, that was really wonderful. I really feel good. Not bad, huh, Mitz? Tell all your friends you did this. Aida, you're a sweetheart. She really is the greatest from Beverly Hills. Oh, my God. Look. Can I have your hat, Aida? I need your veil more than you do.
What are your backaches like?
My backaches, well, the muscles start to stiffen.
Comfortable ones. And for 3 months, all you could wear is your uncomfortable, ugly shoes. You become obsessed with shoes, where normally you don't give them a thought. And that's what happens when we put people on diets. They become obsessed with the foods that we take away from them. And thin people seem to know some secrets that fat people don't know. When a thin person wants pizza, they know that 1,000 carrot sticks won't satisfy them.
But aren't there some people who are thin, who can eat whatever they want? Johnny Carson, you know, Ed keeps saying Johnny eats whatever he wants, and he remains exactly what he has looked like for the last 40 years.
Well, that's one of the secrets, because when we studied thin people, we found out that they all ate exactly what they wanted, just like children. And that was one of the secrets.
And ate just enough.
Yeah, because they listen to their bodies.
So then what's the difference between a thin person and an overweight person?
Well, a fat person doesn't listen to their body. They eat for all the other reasons in the world. They eat because it's time to eat, or because they're nervous, or because they're happy, or because they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
So the recidivism rate is rather high then?
Very high.
You ask some interesting questions here in this publicity folder that you send out along with the book. Why not to jog if you're overweight? I presume that's damaging your heart?
Well, no, not really. It's especially for women. If you're carrying 10 or 20 extra pounds around, jogging isn't that good on your joints anyway. And if you jog a mile, or if you run a mile, or walk a mile, you burn the same amount of calories. So if you're not in good shape, you shouldn't push yourself that far. You should start out walking, because you're going to do the same. It's the same advantages. And then when you build up, you can do anything you want.
You ask a lot of provocative questions. Why light beer doesn't work?
I tried. See, I lost 2,120 pounds. The way I did that is I lost 20 pounds, and I gained it back about 115 times.
Yeah.
One time, when light beer came out, I knew this was the answer. I was going to lose my 20 pounds. I drank so much light beer, and the 20 pounds didn't come off. No matter how much you drink, it's not going to do it.
But, Bob, you're not supposed to just drink light beer. You're supposed to have it in place of the heavy
I
beer
see.
to eliminate that number of calories that you're saving.
But what happened was I drank twice as much. That all the diet foods, I think they put something in them, Regis, to keep us fat, because the only people that I see that ever eat them are fat people.
How your scale keeps you fat?
Most people don't know what they should weigh. They don't know how many 120 pounds are. The best way to find out what you should weigh is take off all your clothes. In private's best. Stand in front of the mirror and look at your body and see if that's the way you want it to be. If it looks like it's a little heavy, then lose some weight. And when you see the body in the mirror that is the one you want, then get on the scale and weigh it, because that's what you should weigh.
How to tell how big your stomach is?
Oh, most people think their stomachs are about this big, so they try to fill them every time they sit down and have a meal. Most people's stomach, it's approximately the size of your fist. Now, that's not how much we normally eat. We eat this much or 3 times that much.
Swelling the stomach.
Yes, and when it tries to shrink back down to normal size, it makes those noises like your mother told you were having hunger pains.
Yeah.
You never had a hunger pain in your life. Those are hunger feelings. And what your stomach's trying to do is shrink back down to normal size. You get upset, think you're going to have a hunger pain, and run eat.
Generally, people overeat anyway. Then,
right. That's why we're overweight. Candy doesn't make us fat. Pizza doesn't make us fat. Beer doesn't make us fat. Overeating makes us fat.
You have devastated light beer. You've put down candy. You've put down mothers. You've done everything. The scale doesn't work. What do you suggest for us? What do you want from us?
What we did was we studied naturally thin people, and we found out that children eat the same way that naturally thin people do. Naturally thin people are people that have never been on diets. They don't eat diet food. And what we found out was that they eat when they're hungry. They listen to their body. Whenever they get hungry, that's when they eat. They eat exactly what they want. And they stop eating when the hunger goes away.
It's as simple as that?
That's it. We've made it real simple. But the problem is to find out why we overeat in the first place. Now, usually, it's our parents that have trained us to overeat.
Yeah.
And it's to go back and remember what we forgot, because most of us used to be thin. And all we have to do is remember how to do it.
Then who needs your book if it's as simple as that? But in case you do want to get a copy of it, it's called Diets Don't Work, and it's got some very, very interesting things in there, too. Bob, thanks very much for coming by and visiting with us today. Nice to have you on this show. Bob Schwartz from San Francisco. Let's talk with Geraldine Sanders and Dr. Harvey Ross and their new book, Hypoglycemia.
If you're a smoker, look. You've probably seen this demonstration of the ugly tar and nicotine stain from one puff of a cigarette. And I'm sure you've had to try to clean an ashtray that looks like this. Often, no matter how hard you scrub, some of the stains persist. And then there are the unsightly stains that smoking can leave on your fingers. Stains like these from smoking can be a problem. But fortunately, if your teeth are stained and discolored from smoking, you can make them brighter again with Topol Smoker's Tooth Polish, a safe and effective formula that brushes away ugly tobacco stains and leaves your breath refreshingly clean. Yes, Topol really works. In fact, of the more than 250,000 Topol users who responded to a national survey, 94% said they liked Topol and plan to continue using it. Let's listen why.
My teeth became an awful lot whiter, and certainly they became brighter to look at.
I pay more for Topol because Topol really does the job.
My teeth are whiter and brighter since I've been using Topol, yes.
And I think Topol gives me a better smile.
Just try Topol. If you don't agree Topol isn't the best tooth polish you've ever used, if you don't actually see your teeth get brighter, just return the unused portion with proof of purchase to Jeffrey Martin for a full refund. Have you ever heard of a tooth polish that dared make an offer like this? Topol may cost a little more, but compared to the ugly stains of smoking, Topol is a real bargain.
Here's Lipton tea lover Don Meredith.
You want to taste something really smooth? Lipton Sun Tea. Smooth because it's made by the sun. You just put a few of these family-sized bags in a jar of cold water, and that old sun brings out every drop of smoothness in Lipton's quality blend. Smooth tasting Lipton Sun Tea. Make it in the sun, you got it made in the shade.
Now about a new book that is in its 5th printing. It's called Hypoglycemia, the Disease Your Doctor Won't Treat, written by Geraldine Saunders and Dr. Harvey Ross, our next guest today. Nice to have you both here.
Thank you.
Hypoglycemia, meaning low glycemia blood sugar. Huh?
Right.
A lot of us have it, and we don't even know we have it. We wonder why we have that sinking feeling at 10:30 in the morning or 2:30 in the afternoon.
Unexplained tiredness is the most common
complaint.
symptom.
Sure. Okay, so tell me all about it. Did you have it, Geraldine?
Yes, I went from doctor to doctor for many, many years. I had ulcers when I was only 21, and other symptoms of tiredness, and I went from doctor to doctor. Doctor could not find any help. I just stumbled upon a book called Body, Mind, and Sugar, and it mentioned that there aren't any patients with ulcers unless they have low blood sugar, and they mentioned also alcoholism is low blood sugar, and they mentioned all these other symptoms. And I thought, well, it's not going to cost me anything to try this. They just said to stay away from sugar and refined white flour and caffeine. So I tried that, and I felt better right away. So that book was written, I forget when it was, many, many years ago. And since then, we've learned a lot more about hypoglycemia. But that was my first experience with finding help for myself from reading.
And just by eliminating those 3 things in your diet, caffeine, sugar, and white flour, you were able to find yourself even stronger than you were before.
Yes.
How do you know if you have it? Is there a test you can take?
There is a test. First of all, you have to have the symptoms or else don't bother, which are what Geraldine mentioned. But there is a test called 5-hour glucose tolerance test, which a person takes sugar, and then their blood is sampled during special times during 5 hours to say what the level of the sugar is.
Once or twice every hour just to see where you are.
Well, some hours twice, some hours just once.
You must fast before you take the sugar to begin with.
Right.
And then your blood sugar is charted. And if it goes down on the curve...
Well, it can do several things, Regis. It can go down much too low, or it can go down too low for that individual person. That's the type of hypoglycemia we see the most of. Or the sugar level can fall too fast from one hour to the next.
Yeah. Well, what else besides the caffeine, sugar, flour, must you eliminate?
We've learned now, since the original book was written, that hypoglycemics can tolerate complex carbohydrates very well if they have a moderate amount of them and a moderate amount of protein and a moderate amount of the fats in their diet. It's a matter of balancing, and it's really a do-it-yourself disease to a certain extent. You have to really watch everything that you eat and drink to make sure that you don't have alcohol is a refined carbohydrate, you see. And anything that will make your blood sugar shoot up quickly, then you get this drop. So caffeine does that, and honey will do it, anything with sugar in it.
Will you always be susceptible to hypoglycemia for the rest of your life?
We feel that that if you do have hypoglycemia, if you're under stress, it can pop up again. But I have a chapter in the hypoglycemia book about alcoholism, and the other night I was privileged to be a speaker at an open meeting with Alcoholics Anonymous. And each one of them were sitting around, each one had the book, and each one read a paragraph from it. And it was very rewarding to realize that even though AA does a wonderful job they're the only people that really can help alcoholics, but they stop drinking, but they still suffer the pangs of alcoholism.
Sure.
Whereas if they realize that they have hypoglycemia, then they will eliminate the caffeine and the white flour and sugar, and then they feel they not only are sober, but they feel well.
Sure. Now, you say here the disease your doctor won't treat. What kind of a doctor are you?
I'm an orthomolecular psychiatrist.
Uh-huh.
An MD?
MD, sure. But why do you say your doctor won't treat?
Well, you know, that title came to me because I've seen a lot of people with hypoglycemia. And they've sought me out because in orthomolecular psychiatry, we're dealing with a nutritional type of medicine. And patient after patient would come in and say, I think I have this, I've read about it, I suspect I do, but I can't get my doctor to treat it. Mm-hmm. He says there's no such thing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's become a fad to say that hypoglycemia is a fad.
A lot of doctors think hypoglycemia is a fad. You're absolutely right. So,
and looking, we discussed the title, and I said, I'm really tired of hearing that. Why don't we just call it hypoglycemia, the disease your doctor won't treat?
It's a good one. And in many cases, it applies. We're going to be joined in a few moments now by Dr. Laura Slaughter, who will be here, and perhaps we'll find out why doctors won't treat this disease from her. Back in a second.
My husband notices every part of a woman's appearance, mine or anyone else's, and he noticed that Dove made my skin feel softer.
We asked women across America to give up their ordinary soap and take the Dove 7-day test.
My soap was drying my face, and I didn't realize it. It feels much softer and creamier with Dove.
Dove is 1/4 moisturizing cream. It can give you softer, smoother skin in 7 days.
After using Dove for 7 days, my skin feels soft, very soft, like a baby's skin.
For softer, smoother skin, switch to Dove.
To lose weight, you have to control your appetite, and nothing works harder than extra-strength Dexatrim.
Dexatrim worked great. It helped me eat less all day, and I lost weight.
The extra-strength Dexatrim diet plan. You can't buy a stronger appetite control capsule without prescription. Dexatrim helps you eat less all day and lose weight.
With Dexatrim, I eat less between meals. And look at me, I lost weight.
Extra-strength Dexatrim. No appetite control capsule works harder to help you lose weight.
Imagine you had guests over and all they wanted to talk about were car chases and cops and robbers, sitcoms and soap operas. For a couple of hours, that might be fun. But day after day, year after year, that's just like a lot of television. When we want to change the subject, they're not listening. Well, Lifetime listened. They've created television about us, about the way we really live. Television that makes life richer. Lifetime. This is the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
We're talking about hypoglycemia today, and this new book called Hypoglycemia, the Disease Your Doctor Won't Treat. And we're joined now by Dr. Laura Slaughter. And you have heard the first part of this interview, what hypoglycemia is and how you treat it, and why your doctor won't treat you. And I've heard from so many doctors, oh, hypoglycemia is an excuse. It's a fad. Everybody likes to say they have it. There is no such thing. You've heard these things, too.
Right. Well, when you look at the glucose tolerance test for a number of normal individuals, what we consider normal, the range is just too variable to make it into an ailment. And I think what doctors have preferred to say, certainly one's mood can change with their blood glucose level. When you're hungry, many people get irritable, and that can vary from person to person. Mm-hmm. But is this a disease? And I think the emphasis is not to focus on this as an ailment. And the problem with many of the people who have this, quote, disease, unquote, and I'll use your title, is that they do focus. There is a lot of focusing on their body parts, their body ailments, and we'd like to try to get them away from doing that. No one eats like a glucose tolerance curve. No one eats 100 grams of glucose and then waits 5 hours before they ever eat again.
Good point. How do you answer that?
Well, I think that whether you call it a disease or not is really semantics. I mean, let's talk about the people who come into your office who don't feel well. Say, I'm tired for no reason, and I have depression for no reason. And when you take a dietary history, you find out that they eat sugars and they drink or they have coffee. And you put those people on, and you do a glucose tolerance test, and put them on a diet, and after 2 to 3 months is what it takes, they feel better. Most of those people really wouldn't care what you call it, whether you call it hypoglycemia or poor nutrition. But in treating it as hypoglycemia and taking them and improving their diet by taking away the sugars and the alcohol and the caffeine, adding some nutritional supplements, they feel much better. The advantage of doing the glucose tolerance test, and there's a great question about it, but the advantage is, I find, that when you're able to show somebody what happens on a piece of paper, and I think you have to pay really attention to more than just the paper, but when you can show them that, they're more apt to stay with the diet for the time that it takes.
But gee, when you fast for 12 hours, Dr. Ross, and then you ingest as many grams of glucose as, what, 100 grams, did you say?
100 grams.
Wouldn't anyone's blood sugar then rise rapidly and then drop severely?
No, it doesn't. No, if that were the case, then we would have everybody with hypoglycemia. But so that everybody doesn't work that way.
Work that way.
We do find that there are people who come in who have a normal-looking glucose tolerance curve, and they feel very well. I think that focusing on the value or the lack of value in the glucose tolerance really takes it away from the issue. The issue is that a lot of people are eating incorrectly. A lot of people do have disorders in the glucose metabolism, and a lot of people feel better, and they've been running around from doctor to doctor for a long time.
And I guess the charge here is that there are a lot of doctors who are not sufficiently versed in the nutritional aspects to help correct these problems.
Well, you can't quarrel with the diet. The diet that you're recommending is a very good diet. So in terms of approaching this problem, I think you have to look at what are people eating. Certainly, that can affect the way you behave. But again, I think we have to stress not making this an ailment. Eat better. I have no quarrel with that. And the diet that you recommend, cutting out alcohol, cutting out caffeine, for many people is exactly the ticket. I don't think we'd have so many of the commercials, and they wouldn't be so believable if, in fact, cutting out a little caffeine wouldn't be exactly the ticket for a number of people.
See, most of Dr. Ross's patients have been sent to him because other doctors say, well, we've given you all examinations, there's nothing wrong with you, and yet they're very sick people. And that's why he has ended up with so many cases of hypoglycemia, because they haven't been able to get help from doctors.
Not sick, a little neurotic.
Neurotic? Really?
No, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something where that goes, because frequently people who have hypoglycemia and have been transferred from doctor to doctor, finally some kind doctor will say, "Well, we haven't been able to find anything for the past 5 years. You know, what you really have to do is see a psychiatrist." And let me tell you, that's when they really get bad, because they're trying to use a treatment which is not applicable. And I am a psychiatrist, and I believe in psychotherapy, but the right psychotherapy at the right time.
Got to pause. Come right back in a second.
Did you brush your teeth yet?
Math test tomorrow.
Can't help you with metrics.
I thought you knew everything.
Hey, I do about some things, like cavities.
Oh.
I know you could get even fewer than I did.
How you know that?
Because I know Advanced Formula Crest has fluorostat.
So?
Compared to the Crest I grew up on, it's even tougher.
My homework's tougher, too.
Quit worrying. You always make Mom and me real proud.
With Crest, your kids could have even fewer cavities than you did.
If you're a smoker, look. You've probably seen this demonstration of the ugly tar and nicotine stain from one puff of a cigarette. And then there are the unsightly stains smoking can leave on your fingers. But if your teeth are stained and discolored from smoking, you can make them brighter again with Topol Smoker's Tooth Polish. Topol really works. Of the more than 250,000 Topol users who responded to a national survey, 94% said they'd buy Topol again.
My teeth became an awful lot whiter, and certainly they became brighter to look at.
My teeth are whiter and brighter since I've been using Topol, yes.
I pay more for Topol because Topol really does the job.
Just try Topol. If you don't agree Topol isn't the best tooth polish you've ever used, if you don't see your teeth get brighter, just return the unused portion with proof of purchase to Jeffrey Martin for a full refund. Topol may cost a little more, but compared to the ugly stains of smoking, Topol is a real bargain.
The 80s woman. She's got the world in front of her.
We have choices.
Her family beside her.
I wanted better things for my child than I, in fact, had wanted for myself.
And she's looking at her life in a new way.
This country is filled with fantastically beautiful women over the age of 30.
I'm Barbara Feldon. Please join me for conversations with some of the world's most dynamic women.
Weekdays at 8:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
The name of this book again is Hypoglycemia by Geraldine Sanders and Dr. Harvey Ross. And if you think you have it, you might enjoy and find this book very, very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Slaughter, for being with us. Dr. Ross said to Dr. Slaughter, call it borscht, but treat it, please. Barry Newman working on my feet. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye.